could you potentially be exposed to a stealth toxin that's wreaking havoc on your health? And this is a toxin that I see in a lot of my chronically ill clients that I work with. And so today I'm going to be talking about mold toxicity. And so maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. This isn't something that's readily recognized by the medical community. And so that's why I also call it a stealth toxin. One, again, it's not recognized by the medical community, but also a lot of people are exposed to it and don't even know it. It's reported that over 50% of homes in the US have moisture problems, water damage, and have mold. And some people are more susceptible. So this is all stuff that I'm gonna be breaking down. But yeah, what is mold? Mold is a type of fungus that likes to grow in areas of moisture. So we've all seen, damp areas outside that have mold or mildew or moss growing on them. But what a lot of people don't know is you could be exposed to this in your house and not even know it. So when we get water damage, roof leaking, and sometimes it's just something small. Again, if we're exposed to it at a major level, we obviously are aware of it, but so many people have some moisture problems in their house, a pipe in the wall that's leaking a little bit, or a dishwasher that has a light leak in it, the roof that's leaking into in between the walls, and are exposed to these mold toxins and don't even know it. So it's not even so much the mold itself that's the problem. It's the fact that the mold produces toxic byproducts, the main one called mycotoxins. So mycotoxins are something that mold uses in its natural environment to kind of fend off its territory. It helps to keep other organisms away and allows it to kind of grow in its territory. But mold mycotoxins, when they're in a enclosed area like a house or a car, a building, and there's not a lot of airflow, this can build up at really extreme levels and affect us. We're breathing it in, affecting our whole body. And mold is one of those things that can produce a wide variety of symptoms, and so it's not very well recognized by the medical community. It can cause things such as like fatigue, brain fog, gut issues, chronic sinus infections, maybe just dizziness, nauseousness. Some people end up with more serious issues like nervous disorders, POTS, if you've heard of that, a wide variety of things that we see. But yeah, and a lot of the people that I see that are chronically ill, mold toxicity and mycotoxins are a primary issue in a lot of their cases. Not all of them, but I see it a lot of, maybe not always the main driver. Some people it is, some people it isn't, but usually a part of a high percentage of people that we see. So these mold mycotoxins can put a lot of pressure on our immune system, on our detox pathways like our liver, our kidneys, our nervous system. And put a lot of pressure on our mitochondria too. Our mitochondria are energy generators or energy power plants in the cells that produce our energy. They can hamper the mitochondrial production and really lead to a lot of chronic fatigue. I did a chronic fatigue webinar not too long ago, and I was sharing some stats, just how in some studies that have been done, over 92% of people that had chronic fatigue syndrome had levels of mycotoxins in their urine that were coming out of their body. And mold is also mentioned in the Bible. You might not notice this, or you might not know this, but mold is mentioned in Leviticus and lots of other areas. Mold is a serious problem, and again, it was addressed in the Bible, and it was taken very seriously if mold was found inside the house. Very specific guidelines on how to treat and take care of the mold. So it's been known for thousands of years that mold can cause health problems. So why is mold not recognized so much today? Well, like I said, its symptoms can span a wide range, and the medical doctors and community are just not educated and really taught about the effects of mold. So it can a lot of times just go unrecognized, unnoticed, but can be a major driver of many people's issues. Different types of mold that can cause issues and health issues. So penicillium mold, aspergillus mold, stachybotrys mold is it's commonly known as black mold. Chaetomium and Chaetoglobicin. So these are all different types of mold. And again, you don't have to see it in your house, but it can be there if you have too high of moisture levels in your house, or again, something in the walls. I've worked with people that we were able to identify mold toxins in their system. They didn't realize it was in their house. They knew they maybe had a little bit of a leak in one area, but they went and dug a little bit deeper. I had one lady I worked with extreme chronic fatigue and brain fog and anxiety, and they found underneath their flooring, they ripped it up and it was just riddled with black mold. They had a couple water situations where water had washed in and in that area, but again, they thought it all dried up, it was all good, but that mold was still there and continuously producing these mold mycotoxins and affecting their health. I've had other people where, you know, they're at work and everybody at work starts to get sick, and we found mold mycotoxins. Come to find out, it was in the walls and in the ceilings of their work, and their whole building had to get shut down, and work had to move because it was such a toxic situation and affecting their health. So this can cause major inflammation in the body. So yeah, again, some more symptoms to be aware of. Things like depression, low immune function, constantly getting sick. These are all potential signs of mold toxicity. There's also a percentage of the population that has a gene variant that makes it harder for their body to identify and remove mold mycotoxins. So they say about 25 to 27% of the population has this gene variant, and their bodies aren't able to identify the mold as well. So yeah, we can have people that are living, and I've seen it, living in the same house, and some people are affected and some people aren't. So why can that be the case? Again, some people have this gene variant that makes it harder for them to identify. Also just different levels of toxicities, different levels of ability of the drainage and detoxification pathways. So this is a complex situation, and we help people regularly identify and walk them through by understanding how their specific body is working with this. So it's important to, you know, if you're suspecting, you know, you have health issues that have come up and you're not getting answers, if you have chronic health and you don't feel like you've, again, got the right answers and you haven't looked into mold toxicity, I think it would be very important to look and consider that and make sure to either rule it out or rule it in as a factor for your health. So how do we find out and how do we test for this? I think the best way that we've identified is doing a urine mycotoxin test. So there are many labs out there. We do feel like the one we use, Vibrant Labs, Vibrant America, has the highest quality and the most amount of mycotoxins that you can test. There are other good labs out there that you can test mold mycotoxins. But yeah, if you're positive, then you need to work on, number one, identifying where the source is from, and then working on the body to actually remove these. So the most important thing, yeah, is identifying, are you currently exposed or was it a past exposure? And if you are currently exposed, it's important to deal with that exposure and getting a qualified professional to remediate the house. I wouldn't encourage somebody to try to deal with mold on their own. Trying to spray it with bleach or different chemicals can actually make the situation even worse. Mold, when it feels attacked, tends to release even more spores and mycotoxins into the air. And so a lot of times if it's not properly dealt with, it's just gonna make things worse. Also, another thing that I hear from some of my clients is, well, if I just have a little bit of mold in the basement, you know, how could that be affecting us? Well, again, mold produces these mycotoxins, and these are odorless things that get released into the air, and it can get in the HVAC system and get spread throughout the whole house, affecting everybody. So this is serious stuff to take into consideration. And mold, even if you see it on the wall, again, you don't want to just deal with it directly there. You want a professional to come in, and that mold is spread probably multiple feet more than you can even see. So to come in and cut out the right parts and then figure out actually where is the moisture coming from. Is there a leak? Is there a drain? We've had many people that have had just a small leak with a pipe in the wall, or something, like I said, the dishwasher that's leaking and causing this constant drain behind the kitchen, behind the sink, something like that. So again, you might be exposed, not even know it. Another thing is, it's not just the mycotoxins, but mold also produces what's called MVOCs. These are microbial volatile organic compounds. Many people have heard of VOCs, you know, off-gassing from furniture or carpet or stuff like that, and that's a serious thing too. But mold also produces these microbial VOCs. So if you go into a building and you smell a musty odor, that's a lot of times the VOCs, the MVOCs that you're smelling. But just because you're not smelling a musty odor doesn't mean there's not mold. So again, you can have one and not the other, but usually the mycotoxins are always involved, and they are odorless. So if you feel like you're potentially dealing with mold toxicity, how do you go about dealing with this in your own body? There are many different ways, and we help coach people through how to do with it, but it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. It's serious business when you're working on detoxing mold mycotoxins. And so we need to take into consideration everybody's detox pathways, how well their body's functioning, their nutrient status, and what their body is capable, how strong or weak their body is. And so there are different binders that we use, and not just clay and charcoal. Those have been used quite a bit throughout history, but these are kind of what we call spent carbons. and binders that will really only go through the digestive tract. They can't absorb and go systemically. So we use more clinical-based binders that can go systemically, and they're selective binders. They can selectively bind to these mold mycotoxins, help pull them out, but they are powerful, and you need to not just jump into doing it, but work with a qualified professional to make sure that you can handle it properly. And again, needing proper support with those drainage pathways, liver, kidneys, bowels, also supporting with the right nutrients so that the body has the right energy and mitochondrial function to detox properly. We've had many people that have just tried to jump into detoxing and it felt horrible. And so, yeah, you need to be working with a professional to walk through it properly. But if done properly, you can take a ton of pressure off your body and relieve a lot of symptoms. Yeah, I've had people that, again, the lady I mentioned earlier that had the mold underneath her flooring, man, her energy was just in the tank, and she was able to gain her whole energy back. And her husband basically said he felt like he got his wife back after working with us for a period of time. So that's huge. Other things that are helpful for mold detox would be like infrared sauna. You know, we sweat out toxins through our body, so it's important. An infrared sauna can help penetrate deeper and help us detox out. Also, ionic foot detox can also draw things out through the pores in the bottoms of the feet. So these can be alternative therapies, but yeah, it's important to deal with mold properly and then also assess other toxins that may be a part of the process and see which one maybe needs to be dealt with first. But yeah, we've dealt with many people with mold toxicity and become kind of experts in dealing with this. Another situation, I remember a kid that was just having a really hard time with his health, a lot of gut issues, a lot of fatigue, brain function. He wasn't developing properly. He wasn't cognitively developing properly either. And we found that his mold toxins were off the charts, and they ended up finding that there was a leak in the roof, and it was like right in his closet. And so he was constantly exposed to these mold mycotoxins. As soon as they took care of that, and we worked with him for several months, clearing that, he started to gain healthy weight. His digestion got better. He started to excel in school again. And so this was just huge for the parents. So many cases that we've seen that mold has been just a huge factor. And again, not readily recognized. So if you've been struggling with chronic health, I would definitely encourage you to work with a professional, get that tested. And here at Spirit of Health, when we're working with people, a lot of times we're testing a multitude of different toxins, including mold mycotoxins, to make sure we're seeing the full picture. So if you know you have mold toxicity, or some of these symptoms that I'm mentioning ring a bell to you and you don't have answers for, or if you're just looking to test and to find answers for your chronic illness, I encourage you to contact us. You can go to our website, spiritofhealthkc.com. You can schedule a free discovery call with one of our team members, and we can tell you how we can work with you. Also, if you've struggled with mold toxicity and you've been on a journey with this, definitely comment in the comments. Tell us your story. Tell us what you've done and what you found out and how it's affected you. But again, I think more and more people are, we're trying to spread the word of awareness that mold can be a huge detriment to people's health. So yeah, let us know, share your story. Let us know how we can help you out. We'd love to help walk you through the right steps in dealing with these issues and helping you on your journey to optimal health.